Good evening, everyone. I want to welcome you again to another edition of Droplets this weekend. I want to believe that we are set for tonight's Droplets. Again, let me just introduce myself. My name is James, and this channel is all about relationship, be it marital relationship, and be it before marriage or during marriage. So tonight we'll be looking at uh, 10 questions. 10 questions that you need to ask yourself and that you need to ask your partner as well, you know, before you go into marriage, before you walk down the aisle, before you say, I do. So I want you to please follow me attentively as we try to discuss these 10 questions. These questions are very important. Many of us, many people, especially the young people, we fall in love, we enter into a relationship, and sometimes we are so close to um, our partner that we are in relationship together to the extent that we really want to get married to our partner, and, and that is not a problem. That is very nice, that's very good, and it's natural for you to pull close to somebody you love, somebody you connect with, somebody you have a feeling with. It's natural for you to pull close to that person and then want to marry the person. So tonight, let's go along together as we look at 10 questions that you must answer, or that your partner must answer, before both of you walk down the aisle. So we'll take the first one. The first one is empathy. Does your partner display empathy for others and you? This is a very, very important question for you to answer. So you need to sit back and consider your partner, the person you said you love so much, the person you really, you know, have this affection with. Does this person really, really have empathy? Does he or she have feelings when somebody, how does he treat other people? Does he treat them, or does she treat them with empathy, or the other side? You understand? You need to check that. You need to consider if your partner has empathy. If your partner does not have empathy, this may eventually affect your relationship. You need to consider how your partner interacts with other people, how he communicates with others. You need to observe very closely how your partner, do all these things. How does he or she handle those that are below him or her? How does he treat the cleaners? How does he treat those, if the person is a leader? How does he treat his followers? How does he deal with those that are under him, those that are, you can say, below him? You understand? Does he treat them with respect? Does he treat them with love? Does he respect them? You need to consider all these things, because the truth of the matter is, if your partner treats others badly, by the time you get married, there's higher chances of your partner treating you badly as well. You understand? There's a higher chance of your partner treating you badly. So it is important that you check if your partner has empathy. Empathy is very good for relationship. Very, very good for your relationship. So it's key. So we look at the second one. The second one is family. What is your relationship with your family and in-laws to be? What is your relationship with them? Is your relationship with them cordial? Is it okay? Do you feel free with them? You understand? You need to consider all these things. You need to consider if your relationship with your partner's family is okay, even with your own family. What's your partner's relationship with your own family? You understand? These things are key, very key, because if you don't try to relate with them well, there may be a problem when you eventually get married. So you need to work on this. You need to work on this. You know, don't go into your marriage blindly. You know, don't go into your marriage blindly. It may not be very pleasant. So please consider the kind of relationship you have with your partner's family and the kind of relationship your partner is having with your own family. You know, um, if it's not okay, if it's not cordial, then you need to work on that. Both of you need to work on it. Vice versa, vice versa. Both of you need to work on that as soon as you can. All right. So we will be considering the third question, which is stress and frustration. And the question you should be asking under stress and frustration is that do your partner, how do your partner react to stress or something that really frustrates him? How do your partner react to stress or something that really frustrates him? This question you need to ask. You need to consider. You need to ask yourself. You know, you've been in relationship with your partner for quite some time. You've been in relationship with the girl, or you as a girl, you've been in relationship with the guy, and you've seen different responses or reactions to stress. Some people react to stress very wrongly. You understand? Some is by aggression. And when the aggression is so much, someone tends to look for where, to pour this aggression. You tend to look for who to pour the aggression on. And this is something you need to consider. Who usually take who is this reaction actually falling onto when your partner is stressed out, when your partner is not feeling is not feeling too good about a particular situation. Something is frustrating your partner. Something is taking your partner off, his normal self. What happens that time? How do your partner react? This is a very important question you need to answer. This is a very important question you need to consider. How do you or your partner handle stress? Because both of you are going to be at home together. You're going to be living together for a long time. So you guys need to know how you handle stress. You need to know how you handle the stress, that it won't tear your relationship apart. You understand? That it won't tear your relationship apart. When you put time into someone, you've given all your time to it, you need to really consider how this person reacts to stress. You understand? So we move to the fourth question. The fourth question says disagreements. It's under disagreement. So when you and I agree, that's how you put it to your partner. I want you to ask your partner that one directly. When we get married, you and I disagree, how would you handle it? How would you handle it, especially when things are heated up? So you need to ask your partner that question. You need to sit down with your partner together and say, when we disagree, which of course is going to happen, and it's okay to disagree because both of you are from different backgrounds. Both of you come from different upbringing. So it's very, very natural for both of you to disagree. But the question is, how do you both handle your disagreement? Now that you may be cutting, you may feel, we handle it well, we handle it together, we handle it maturely and all that. It's a different ballgame when you get married. It's a different ballgame when you get married because you are both in the same ship. You see yourself every day, you see yourself every moment, almost 24 hours a day, So how would both of you handle disagreement? When you argue, when it gets heated up, when the argument gets heated up, what do you do? So you and your partner need to talk about this and agree on how you will be handling it. For some people, when an argument gets heated up, you can choose to walk away so that you can cool off. Then you come back and then, both of you discuss it without crucifying each other, discuss the situation and come to an amicable agreement. You understand? So please ensure you discuss this with your partner. Number 5 is passion. Is passion. Question number 5 is around passion. So I'm asking here that what is your partner passionate about? That is 1. 2, how does your partner pursue that passion? And 3, is this something you can support long term? Important questions. What is your partner passionate about? So you need to consider what your partner is passionate about before you go into that marriage, before you walk down the aisle. Yes, you need to consider it. Each person have different passion in a relationship. And this is a good thing, actually. Very, very good. It's a very, very good thing. Being with someone who is passionate about a particular interest helps to add another layer of relationship. Yes, something else to look at, something else to keep yourself busy and all that. But the key is to ask yourself, are you okay with your partner's business endeavor, with your partner's activity, day-to-day activity, what is passionate about? Do you feel okay? Consider how it's going to impact your relationship. You need to consider how it's going to impact your relationship. Is it going to impact your relationship positively, or is it going to impact your relationship negatively? So you need to consider that before you walk down the aisle. Please don't be blind. Love is no longer blind these days any longer. Love is no longer blind. Being blind is not going to do you any good. So you need to consider all this. Consider your partner's passion. Can you fit into that passion? Can you support your partner in this passion and still be okay? Is passion or our passion, is it going to affect your relationship adversely? Is it going to affect it adversely, or is it going to make it better? So you need to consider all this. Let me just quickly take some comments I'm having right now on YouTube, so that you all know that I can see you. I can see you. Yeah, I can see Collins, I can see Francis. And Francis is saying that stress and frustration can adjust the line of thinking and actions negatively. And that is very true. That is very true. It can really do that. And then how to undo disagreement is key, especially his or her temperament comes into play. Of course, that is very true. And then he said, passion fuels a vision or line of interest. Yeah. So we need to be very, very wise when going into marriage. Again, don't go into marriage blindly. Don't go into marriage blindly. We should have less divorce cases to take care of in future. And that's the purpose of this channel. That's the purpose of this show. We don't want to be having people thinking of divorce or separating. It's not the right thing to do. It's not the right thing at all. So let us ensure that we ask all these questions and ensure that we get adequate answers to these questions, either from our partner or from our own self. So it is very, very key. So quickly, we move to question number 6. Question number 6. Question number 6 talks about frequency of intimacy. Yes, and it says, how often do you need to be intimate? And how are both of you going to communicate it, to one another if needs changes? Now I'll tell you this. It cannot be overemphasized that intimacy is a key component of your marriage. Intimacy is a key component of your marriage. We cannot overemphasize it. Yes, it cannot be overemphasized. You need to talk to your partner. You need to agree. You need to talk about it. You need to talk about the intimacy. What frequency is going to be? Some people may feel they can, some people may say, okay, we get intimate every day. If that is your own, you need to consider if your partner is okay with it. And in most cases, both of you may have different frequency of intimacy. So both of you need to sit down, discuss it, and come to an agreement. Sex is good. Sex is part of marriage. Sex is permitted in marriage. In fact, that is the only place where God permits sex. But at the same time, you need to consider how often your partner would love to have sex. Some people may choose to have it every day. If they are okay with it, then so be it. If your partner does not feel like having it every day, you should be able to understand or discuss it and come to an agreement, about it. And then what is the communication? How do you communicate to your partner that you want to have sex? How do you do that? You guys need to talk about that. So what I'm saying is that you need to tell your partner your love language. You need to discuss your love language together. You need to discuss that together and understand it. And the good thing is, when both of you have this understanding before you eventually go into the marriage, your marriage is going to start off on a good note, on a very, very lovely note. On a very lovely note, yes. So it's something that both of you need to discuss before you walk down the aisle. Because we've seen relationship where frequency of sex has torn both of them apart. Yes. There have been cases where frequency of sex is what caused the reason for divorce. Yes, there have been cases like that. So it's a very important question for you and your partner to discuss. So we move quickly to the seventh one. And the seventh one is talking about kids. Yes, kids. So how many of us agree on the number of kids we will give birth to before we actually go into marriage? How many of us? It is very key that you agree with your partner how many kids you'll be having before going into marriage. You don't want to fall to be a victim of someone. I mean, these days people don't have too many kids, and it's okay. What if your partner says, I want 4 and you want 2? Don't you think that can cause a rift between you and your partner when you get married? So it is key that you discuss that. And it's not only about how many kids. It's also key that you discuss how you want to take care of those kids. You discuss their school, the type of school they will be attending. You discuss it, the kind of way you want to, take care of those kids, the values you want to you accept, and the value you're not going to accept. Do you understand? So the question says that what values are most important to you and your partner when you start having kids? When you start raising your kids, what value? Does the school your kid attend, the type of school matter? Is it going to be public? Is it going to be private? You guys need to discuss that. Yes, you guys need to discuss that. Do you want to have an account for your kids, a separate account for your kids? You need to discuss that as well. So these things are very important so that there's no rift when you get into the marriage proper. Yes, so that there's no rift when you get into the marriage proper. So we quickly go to the the 8th question rather. Forgive me. The 8th question talks about spiritual belief. Sorry about that typo. Spiritual belief. Now, what are your partner's spiritual belief? And how would he or she want the family to be a part of this? This is very important question as well, especially um, in today's dispensation. It is important because you and your partner need to discuss your spirituality, your spiritual beliefs. Some partner believes it's about going to church, going to church on Sundays. Some don't think, and some don't think that not going to church means that you don't have spiritual belief. You understand? Some think that just live right, do things the way you ought to do it in life, and that's fine. You need to discuss your spiritual belief with your partner. This is another um, key thing that destroys relationship. Yes, that destroys relationship. It is important that both of you, your spiritual beliefs synergizes. Your spiritual beliefs is being brought together, and you both understand what your spiritual beliefs are. And it is important that you have the same spiritual belief. That way, the family is in unity, the family is in sync. Then you also want to consider, how do you want to bring your children into it, into your belief, and all that. You discuss things like, okay, when do we pray? When do we read the Bible? And other things that surrounds your spiritual belief. So it's important that you guys talk about your spiritual belief. So we move quickly to the 9th question, which is a wonderful one: finance. Finance. You need to talk about who will handle financial matters in your home. You need to talk about it. Who is going to handle financial matters in your home? Especially, it is generally expected that the man, let me put it that way, the man should be the one handling the finances at home majorly. Both of you can talk about it and discuss it, and if it's something you want to share, great. If it's something that one person has to carry alone, well, it's an agreement that both of you need to come into before you go into marriage. Before you go into marriage, please, this is very important. This is very, very, very important. This is very, very important. You need to also, not just about even when you get into marriage, even right from now, if you check your partner's bank account, the bank statement, you begin to know how your partner spends money. So you guys need to also talk about how money will be spent, in the home, how money will be spent on what and for what purpose and all that. You need to talk about it. So if you consider checking your partner's statement of account, it gives you an idea of what to expect when you get married. It gives you an idea of how your partner spends money. If your partner is more of a giver on the outside, and buys less things for himself or something, you're going to have an idea. That's just what I'm talking about. You're going to have an idea of how your partner deals with money. So it's important that both of you discuss this finance. You will discuss about if you want to have one account, all your money goes into the same account, regardless of the fact that both of you work in different places. So you collect your salary and put it all in one account, or you operate your separate account. You operate your separate account and then probably have one account where both of you put money into and save money. You understand? Or you just operate your separate account just like that. So it should be an agreement between both of you. Whatever works for you both is what you guys should then practice when you get into your marriage. Please make sure you discuss finance. Make sure you discuss finance. Is very, very important. So before I go to the 10th question, let me consider some of the comments that we have in here. Okay, said here again that intimacy in marriage is encouraged, as this could bring a long way. This could go a long way to enhance the bond of marriage. That is very, very correct. That is very, very correct. Intimacy is very, very much encouraged in a marriage. And intimacy is not just all about sex. It's not just all about sex. Affection, you need to be affectionate, to your partner. You need to express that to your partner as well. There are a lot of ways you can actually be intimate with your partner. It's not just sex alone. Then someone said again that spiritual belief must be the same, as this helps to heal and strengthen relationship, especially when challenges comes. Very, very true. Very, very true. Your spiritual belief, like I said, you should ensure that it's same. It is much more advantageous when it's same. If you go into a relationship with somebody that that spiritual belief is different from, there's going to be an issue. An issue that can tear your relationship apart at the end of the day. So it's important that you consider your spiritual beliefs and ensure that you're on the same plane. Yes, on the same plane. That will foster much more peace in the home. So quickly, we'll then go to the 10th question, which is very tricky. Soured love. Soured love. What do you do if we fall out of love? You ask your partner that question. Please ask your partner that question, because it will happen. It will happen. Ask those who are already in marriage. They will tell you it happens. So what do you do when that time comes? How do you ensure that the fire keeps burning? How do you ensure that the passion in your marriage is still kept alive? Both of you need to discuss that. Yes, both of you need to discuss that, because you will surely pass that route. You will surely go through that route when it's as if this woman, or you as a woman, you say, this man sins, surely. So it's important that you reinvent the passion in your marriage. Let me put it that way. It's important that you reinvent things in your marriage. It's very important. So you guys need to discuss that. When the love becomes sour, when it's no longer exciting as it is now for some of us, when that love is no longer as exciting as many of you are feeling right now before you go into marriage. Right now you may feel you cannot sleep without talking to your partner before you go to bed. You cannot, when you want to eat, you think about your partner. Like throughout the day, you're thinking about your partner. When you get married, you'll be with your partner almost for the rest of your life. Yeah, let me put it that way, for the rest of your life. So it comes a point in time where it's as if things are just boring marriage, boring atmosphere. So you need to look for devise ways at which you will ensure that things are kept alive. The feeling is kept alive. The intimacy is kept alive. The adventure is kept alive. So don't just be too excited about going into marriage. Please ask questions and answer these questions. So I want to thank you all for being online with me. It's such a great time to have you here with me. And I believe that all that we've discussed, many of us who are who are not married yet, will begin to consider answering those questions. So it is key that we ask these questions and ensure that they are answered. So we'll just review all the questions again, just as a reminder for us. Yes, just as a reminder for us. The first one we talked about was empathy, which is talking about how your partner treats others, especially those that are below him, and how he treats you as well. Does he treat you with respect? Does he treat you with love? Does he treat you with care? Does he treat you with much affection? Number two is family. Consider the relationship between you and your family, and then you and your in-laws, then your partner also, and your family, your partner and his own family as well. You need to consider the kind of relationship that goes on amongst you guys. Then also stress and frustration. How do your partner react to stress or something that really frustrates him? It's very key that you consider this as well before going into marriage. Then disagreements, very key. How do you both undo disagreement even when things are much more heated up, when things are like going off the roof? How do you guys handle disagreements? The next one is passion. That's the fifth one. The passion of your partner. Is it okay for you? Is it going to do well in your relationship when you get married? Is it going to foster the unity amongst both of you? Is it going to foster um, much time between both of you, spending much time together? That's what I mean. Spending more time together. And you need to consider that as well. Then frequency of intimacy. How frequent do you guys want to get intimate? And what are the languages to tell your partner that you feel to have the need for intimacy? Yes, you feel the need for intimacy. How do you pass that to your partner? Then kids as well. You talk about the kids you are going to have. How many kids you're going to have? What school are you putting your kids? Is it private um, or public school? And so on like that. What level of education would you want to get your kids to before you then leave them alone as independent individuals? Spiritual beliefs, yeah. Please forgive the typo there. Spiritual beliefs is very important that you consider spiritual belief, because this is very key in making sure that your relationship is steady and that you both also operate on the same plane of belief. It brings both of you together. It brings you both together as a team. So please make sure you consider that as well. Then finance as well. Who handles the finance in the home? Who is the major financier? Is going to be questions you need to ask and also answer. Things like house rent, food, groceries and all that. You guys should talk about it. You may think it's funny, but please, you need to talk about those things. Then when the love gets soured, which is the last question, the 10th question, when love gets soured, what do you do? How do you handle it? And this soured love is what has led so many marriages to divorce. They get tired of each other. Nothing is being reinvented. No passion rekindling and all that. So it's important that you both discuss these questions and be on the same page. Yes, we have come to the end of tonight's show. For those of us who miss it, you will be watching the edited version shortly after this show ends. So, and for those of us who listened as well, you can always come back again, to watch over and over again. But before we go, let me just read more of the comments that I have here. Francis says financial is important. That to the extent of openness, agreement, and unity. Financials must be discussed. Yes, I agree with you. It must be discussed. Then also, he said you need to identify what affects your love life. Is it busy schedules, time, and etc. These are things you and your partner need to talk about. Please, I encourage you to try and talk about these things. They are very, very key. So we have come to the end of tonight's show, and I want to appreciate you for staying with me. And I pray that God will continue to help us in our relationships with our partners. God will continue to make sure that we are in peace together and that we progress together and that we have a healthy relationship. If your relationship is experiencing anything at all, any turmoil at all, please feel free to reach out to me. We'll talk about it and find a way of making sure that your relationship gets back to normal. This is why we are here, to help people have a better relationship with their partners, peaceful relationship. I also want you to please subscribe to my channel. If you have not subscribed, just click on the subscribe button below right there, and also click on the bell icon as well, so that when we upload videos, you are informed about it, or when we come live, on the show, you are informed about it, that we are on live. So please make sure you subscribe, and I will see you next weekend again. My name remains James. Thank you very much.